think as well, like, if, we'll just, round up on cinema since we've, like, been here all day. Obviously, there's the writer's strike, and, you were talking about The Flash. Do you know there was a guy who plays a televised version of The Flash who was, like, doing an interview, and they were like, "Oh, congratulations on your cameo in the Flash movie." And the guy was like, "What are you talking about? I'm not in the Flash movie." And they're like, "No, like, you're in the Flash movie." And he's like, "Nah, it was somebody else playing, like, a different version of the character or whatever it is." And it turns out, no, this guy was, like, actually in the Flash movie. And they went, like, and it's, like, again, what a lot of this writer's strike and that is about the AIification, or, like, I don't know if that's a word, but maybe we just invented one. like cinema, like, I'd seen people talking about the writer's strike, saying that, the studios are going to AI and being like, write us a season of X-Men or The Witcher or whatever the fuck it is, and it's coming back with broad strokes, and then they're hiring actual writers to come in and be like, right, tidy this up and, like, put it in the format that we want it in. And writers are like, well, hold on a minute, like, why don't we just write it from scratch? And not, we don't want that because we'd need to pay you. Like, Secret Invasion, the one with Samuel L. Jackson, got a lot of stick because the opening sequence was done with AI.
Right.
So it was, and it's really fucking shady AI. It just looked horrible. Like, there was meant to be, like, representations of Samuel L. Jackson's face and, like, other bits and pieces, I'm assuming, like, pop up throughout the show and stuff like that, but it just looked muddy, horrible, like, overly stylized, but, like, just one look at it and you're like, that's AI. You know what I mean? Like, so they're bringing it into the script writing, they're bringing it into, the credit sequences and the CGI. They're introducing people to movies. I mean, was it you were saying, like, Christopher Reeves?
So, like, there's a scene in The Flash where they go through all the multiple Supermans.
Aye.
And you see the guy for the 50s, and then it comes forward to Christopher Reeves, and then, whatever.
That's
like,
creepy as fuck.
Although I don't know if
Henry Cavill.
Dean Cain, wonder why he was left out, like the Clark and Lois
right.
TV series, because, I mean, for me personally, I loved that.
He was Superman.
For a period of time.
Christopher Reeves, when we were younger, I think he was kind of like at the end of the run. I don't remember Superman 4 at all. Like, so.
Do you know?
No, not really.
No, I remember got to see it. I went to see it in the Canon Cinema Theatre on that is now the Classic Grand.
All right.
And the only what is it? Nuclear Man. Like,
right.
Like fucking Lex Luthor fires a nuclear weapon into the sun and creates Nuclear Man, and he comes to Earth, and he's, like, really powerful and blah blah blah.
Obviously, why it fell away from there.
Oh, it's
but
terrible.
For me, I
terrible.
remember on a Saturday night sitting down at home. Saturday night, you used to have, like, boxing on the telly, and we would watch The New Adventures of Superman with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Hatcher, aye.
Very close to the
novel. Pratchett. That's where I get confused. You'd watch Superman. My man and dad would order Pecora for, like, the Indian, and then we'd sit and watch, like, Eubank versus Ben or whatever the boxing was that was on a Saturday night, and that was our, like, wee family sort of Saturday ritual. So for me, like, Dean Cain was probably more Superman to me than Christopher Reeves was. You know what I mean? Like, now Henry Cavill's a pretty definitive version of it, I think, to be honest with you. But growing up, like, I would have said, if you were like, who's, like, your Superman, I'd have probably went Dean Cain. So it's a bit weird that he's not in it. But even the guy for the
it might have been. Right. I don't know.
But even the guy for the 50s, like, that story, his story got dark as fuck. Like, that was a tragedy. So, like, bring that guy back, using the AI to bring that guy back for the dead for a movie cameo, it just doesn't seem appropriate to me. It doesn't seem fair. Same with Christopher Reeves. I mean, like, he was.
I've been saying this for a while because I've seen adverts pop up with fucking Albert Einstein selling insurance and stuff,
right.
And I'm like, really, that, like, I was like, is that just because it's, like, over 50, like, the whole, like, copyright thing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
now your image rights are gone because you're
Maybe
over 50 years. A bit like music, you can use any music over 50
it
years
becomes
old,
trad.
whatever it is. Yeah, it becomes public. But I was like, yeah, but you're using this for, like, you've got Albert Einstein, an animated version of him, fair enough, jumping around in bubble baths and stuff like that. And I'm like, I just don't really like. I get it. They're trying to like, but
It's very
I just don't, but I
distasteful,
don't get
isn't it?
it. But it's just very like who signs off on this shit? Like
Yeah.
who's actually like making a conscious decision that that's the right thing, you know? Like, but
You
I
would
don't think
hope-
they're concerned about whether it's right or not,
Uh-huh.
because, as I say,
No,
for
of
me,
course not.
bringing people back for the dead for the purposes of movie cameos is not like an appropriate use of technology. And I can get why writers and the people who have spent years building names in the cinema and sort of TV industries are like, no, fuck this, because they are being sidelined en masse at a time when, you know, for the first time in years, we're actually like talking about cinema, you know what I mean, and being like, it's became exciting again in the last few weeks. But at the same time, on the flip side of it, we have hundreds of thousands. They were saying that, like, you know, the big guys, you know, the Bryan Cranstons and the Gail Gadot's and, you know, all these Henry Cavills and blah blah blah, they're millionaires. Cool, no doubt. But something like 95% of the TV and cinema industry are on less than £26,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, think about, you know, there was people showing like residuals for like streaming content, and like one of them was like, it was she had done like Mouseketeer shit, had been like a Disney princess, you know, on one of the channels, you know, Nickelodeon or whatever it was, had, you know, grown up in like a Disney Channel TV show, and had then moved on, you know, whatever she did with her life, and was like, here are my residuals, and it's like she's getting checks in the post for like $2 and like $4, and like one guy was like, I got a check. It was like the Miley Cyrus one, was it Hannah Montana? One of the guys who was in like Hannah Montana was like, here's my latest residual check, $0, like sending me like no money. And you're like, this is still to this day.
That
Like,
cost them
that's-
money.
It cost them money to send you a check for nothing.
But we're also going down the route of like you're getting to the point where you could have a data bank of actors that have signed up to these contracts.
Yep.
And essentially, like, those studios will own those actors' rights forever, or for
Yep.
whatever it looks like, and then they won't need to, like, they will be able to use like Robert Downey Jr. until like he's dead for 50 years, and they're just using that image
Yep.
right. And then there'll be a change where they can use like his image but slightly altered or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, he could have been bigger, he could have been thinner, he could have been more so then you create avatars for everything, and you're right, it just totally muddies the water, and it means that it detracts from and dilutes individual talent, because rather than
What
it
is
being,
talent anymore when you just plug it into a
because
keyboard? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's it. But you look at like Oppenheimer and Cillian Murphy, and he's picked for that because he's an incredible actor.
Yep.
Christian Bale, like there's loads of brilliant actors out there, but
Mhm.
those people, if they're like, and Cillian Murphy's very aware of the social. Like, he doesn't do social media. He doesn't touch any of that.
somebody was talking
He's
to
very
him
removed
about
from it.
Peaky Blinder memes, and he was
Yeah.
like,
And he's like,
"What's
what?
a meme?"
Yeah, what's I mean?
And they were like,
And I love that.
What do you
and that's
mean?
but that is what people love about him. But,
Wouldn't it be
Aye.
nicer?
but that's where
It's just
that's
like
where it'll go.
chronically offline instead of chronically online. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I think, but I get what you're saying, mate, because I'm pretty sure as part of all this writer strike stuff, people were saying that they were coming in and doing like motion capture, you know, for like special effects shit and all the rest of it. And one of the actors had said, well, hold on a minute, like, why am I doing this? Because this doesn't feel like relevant to like the project that we're working on. Why am I? And they're, oh no, we're just capturing your motion. And she's like, but why? And I'm like, well, because we'll store it away until whenever it is that we need it. And they're starting to now insert like clauses in actors' contracts that are like, we can basically like take your image and just apply it to something else.
Which is what we talked
You know what
about
I mean?
with
Like-
the music industry. Did it like many years ago, where they would sign artists up, and then essentially they're tied in for like 7-album deal, and they can't get out of these things. And I mean, you've got instances where you've got like Taylor Swift, who's like gone and like basically re-recorded all of her first like 4 albums, whatever it is,
Right.
and because she can't own the rights to them, but she's got out the agreement, and now she's like basically re-recorded them and re-uploaded them so people then listen to her versions
Her
rather
version
than
of
the
the-
other
the track.
versions.
Right, I'd
And
heard
it's-
that there was some
and it's
getting
like-
re-released.
But it's the same thing that's going to happen over.
Because I'm
There's
going to be
also-
honest with you, as a 40-year-old, 41-year-old white guy from Scotland, like, I kind of missed like Taylor Swift becoming like the biggest thing on the face of the planet.
Oh, it's
And,
literally, see,
like-
you're talking about earlier on about like the incels, where it's like their whole personality, mate. There is like predominantly white, approaching middle-aged single women who their full personality
She's
is
just
they
a
are Taylor
goddess.
Swift's fan.
Aye.
Aye.
And don't get me wrong, like fair fucks to the lassie, like you know, the era tour that she's on just now looks incredible, like, and she's like filling out like football stadiums like 6 nights a week and you're like, when did that? And I mean, I knew she was always big, right? I knew she was like up there as like one of the main American recording artists and stuff like that, but I didn't realise that she was like Beatles big, like honestly didn't. And like
She's huge.
the
Aye,
actual
it's
like
ridiculous.
love and like is fanatical. I had a guy on Twitter who, or X as it is now, because billionaires or whatever, you know what I mean, as we were talking the other week.
The everything app, you know. Oh, we
this-
hate China.
this
but
guy is like a
we're
legal
just going to
professional.
turn fucking Twitter into
Aye.
like the Chinese fucking government app. It's
Aye.
like,
We've obviously I briefly worked in like the legal industry a few years ago, and I've got, you know, folk on my Twitter from that sort of neck of the woods and bits and pieces. This guy's quite a serious guy who regularly, when there's like news shit, talks about like the legal element of what's going on in the news, and I find his chat quite interesting. And on the day that the Taylor Swift tickets went live in the UK, he was posting like, I'm on the phone shaking trying to get like Taylor Swift tickets. And I'm like, I think that's when I was like, fuck man, this lassie's ascended to a stratosphere that like Beyonce is on a world tour and people are like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like Taylor Swift's where it's at sort of thing. So I, just as an aside, when you mentioned her there, like
to what you
she's
were talking
become
about there,
huge.
Shep, like her re-recording, like I can't remember who it was, but I've got a feeling it was Cardi B,
Right?
who she went in direct competition with a record label and was asking fans to go and stream a song on SoundCloud, not on Spotify or Apple Music, because she get 100% of the revenue of the SoundCloud streams. So this is like people
It's
taking the power, like
it's
try
clever, like, it's
try to
just
take the
people
power
being
back.
smart.
But
Aye,
see, you're
exactly.
talking about like the comparisons to the music industry. I'd be really interested in this. I was thinking there as you were talking, we've seen like guys like David Guetta. We've seen like this. Calvin Harris is kind of like in this same sort of thing. These guys would have been producers back in the day.
Yep.
But because now the tech means that they don't need the band and they don't need the singers, the people that are, you know, like what you would probably say is naturally talented rather than somebody who develops like
Aye.
the ability to play a keyboard, whatever, like it, they become the stars. I would be very interested if we're going to see like somebody like James Cameron AI's face onto like Arnold Schwarzenegger's body. Like, is the human ego that way? Where like the CEO of Disney's like, I want to be the leading man in the next action movie, so go and motion capture my face and get me on this supermodel, like this jack
Like
guy's body.
But did
an
we not-
AI version of the Michael Flatley movie, Blackbird. Have you ever seen this?
No.
Right, so Michael, Lord of the Dance, you know the
I
fucking
know Michael
I know,
Flatley,
aye,
River
right.
Dance and stuff.
So he has made fucking millions, right? He
Aye.
went to like Broadway
Yeah, the
and was
Vegas.
there for like fucking 15 years. Like, this guy is minted, and he's taken that money and he's basically made a James Bond movie where he is James Bond. So his Blackbird, look it up on YouTube. The reviews are terrible,
Right.
and like, he is the least convincing actor I've ever seen in my life. And he's always got the white tuxes and the black bow ties, and he's like getting women chat, and there's like fucking dodgy sex scenes and action. Oh my god! And
Was
this
it
is
made
like
in the 90s when he was
no,
like
this
at
is
the height
like
of his fame?
in the last couple of years.
Oh, right.
Like, he's an old man in it. He's not even like in his
okay.
physical, because like in his physical prime, like, you know what I mean. This
Aye.
guy was svelte. You know what I mean. Like, this dude
Yeah, the
is
power
not at that anymore. Like, he is an old man
Right.
who has probably not river danced in several years, cutting about, kidding on his James Bond. So we already kind of have those vanity projects in certain respects, you know what I mean? But now you can just be like,
But all of these billionaire projects are vanity projects.
Then this is the problem: is that you don't need to be a billionaire now.
Is a vanity project.
Aye.
Going
But they
to
don't-
the fucking moon is a
They don't
vanity.
need it now because if AI continues on the path that it's on and keeps encroaching on the things within the movie, TV, and sort of music industry that we're talking about, like you on your laptop in the house
Well, this is
could create what would have been a $300 million movie
well, we talked
with
about
all your favourite actors, and you've just paid for the rights. You've
exactly.
subscribed to Paramount's database.
Exactly.
Pay $10 a month, and you can download the image of any actor you
It's
want to
already-
just superimpose in
It's
your
already
movie.
there,
You know what I mean?
and
Like-
ironically, because we were talking about it earlier again, we were talking about the fact that like Metallica got taken out of them
aye.
for standing up against this many years ago, saying that it was going to be going
Uh-huh.
across the
I mean,
industry.
South Park spanked the living shit out
And
of
so
them for that.
when you
know what I
said
mean? Like-
about South Park, that's the funniest thing, because there's already a website out where they have taken South Park,
Yep.
and you can click on pick 5 characters, put in a topic, and it will create you a full episode, and it is hilarious because it's the easiest thing to do in
Yeah.
AI,
Uh-huh.
because that's how they make the episodes
And it's
week on
dick and
week.
fart jokes
Aye.
as
Because
well.
it's just and it just literally writes the whole episode. That is going to be like standard, and then you'll just be able to post up onto your feed. Oh, I got a really good episode here. Watch
Aye.
this, and it just makes the whole thing redundant as fuck.
I mean, we looked at it, didn't we? I mean, when ChatGPT or whatever the fuck it is became a thing, we had the conversation where we were like,
Well, it was like,
why
what,
don't
what,
we?
What can we write? What can we ask it?
What can we? We were like, what kind of episodes ideas would it give us?
Aye.
And I think there was like, you ran it twice, didn't you? There was like 2
Uh-huh.
lists of 10, and in each list of 10,
There was a
just
couple. There
just
was a
based
couple.
on what was it? It was just based on were episode titles
You
or
just-
something.
no,
wasn't
you
it?
just put. I just put in like ideas for an episode of Rebel City podcast. So the AI already has pretty much everything fed into it through
Aye,
Google
through the
and,
internet and
and,
whatever.
and YouTube and Spotify. So they know what you're.
I think there was like 3 or 4 in each list where we were like,
It's all right.
that might actually be all right. You know what I mean? Like, we never went with any of them, obviously. You know what I mean? Like,
This is the other thing. Like, I had a guy in here a couple of weeks ago, and well, I think we're well past hour, so we can like wrap on this, I
Yep.
suppose. And you know, the delusion was wild, right? And so I just kind of like said something, and then kind of like retracted as I realised that I was basically like stealing the jam out of this guy's donut. I won't name his name, I won't name his social media, but he was a professional copywriter, and I was just like, mate, find a new job.
it's over.
And he was
on.
like, what? And I was like, I know somebody who was a graphic designer who lost her job to Canva, and she was working at like Top Makeup, Maybelline, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Canva has just,
Aye.
it's all automated and blah, 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 and they've got templates, and they can pay an intern to jump in and make professional graphic design. Same way music, same. I was like, AI, the copywriting is the first thing, and now you're seeing it. Like, people can write social media posts for
my
businesses.
My
and-
company works within the legal sector, employment law sector. Like, trust me, like AI is gonna have huge effects in the legal sector.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because first off, you're paying hundreds of quid an hour to a lawyer, whereas you'll be able to go online and get letters drawn up in a second that are as well
Immaculate.
Yeah.
as well worded. At the moment, the way that companies will be introducing it is like having it write it and then having it sense checked, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
This is
it'll
the
get-
exact same as what we're talking about with the actors, but into it, it's like, or the writers.
The writers.
They'll
It
now
looks
instead of
rubbish.
yeah,
Like that intro for your thing looked rubbish this time round. See that next time, and the next time it will just
Aye,
get better.
iteration will
and
make
better.
it better. But
Aye.
I mean,
no,
you
but
can
I'm talking about more like the writers. Like,
Yeah.
they're no longer hiring
Aye.
TV writers.
What he's
to
saying
go
is it'll
6
get-
months to write a full thing. They are now running it through an AI, and it's getting shipped to them to do a week's worth or a day's worth of work. Same thing with the copywriter. They'll
Yeah.
now, instead of hiring you to do this job where you could go, that took me an hour to write that copy and I'm £100 an hour. They're
Yep.
now going to be like, oh, we want you to edit what the AI's done. That should take you 5 minutes. We're not paying you £100 an hour. We're paying you a fiver.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And like that.
Definitely. Danger.
But the benefit, like, well, if we were like, because this, like you say, it's an unstoppable thing. Like, this isn't.
Aye, so
we're
they'll know.
not going to be going. Oh, actually, let's not do this and and keep it all the same. But what will have to happen, and it kind of goes down the route of universal credit and all these kind of things, is you are going to have to work for that 1 hour instead of 1 month, but you're going to get paid. $2,000 to do that. So like
Yeah.
and then it'll be a change of society. Like you're not going to be having like we've already proved it with a 4-day working week. We've already proved it by working at home. We've already proved it. Like these ways and these systems are old, outdated, and we will have to adapt.
Yeah.
and it'll be more that we'll have
like,
so much more time to do things that we
when
actually should be
It'll
doing.
take away GPs,
Yes.
service industry, everything like that will go because, like, mate, I went to a GP circa 2017 and I was like, what are they doing? And they were putting my symptoms into an NHS database and
Aye.
it was
Yeah.
spitting out results. So
Yeah.
you're like, they're using, that's no technically AI,
Aye.
but
It's
it
just
is a
flow
form
chart.
of it.
It's just a flow chart that
Uh-huh.
they use. If you phone up 111, they go, right, what's your, you got a high temperature, right? Yes, no, let's go down to the next
Yeah,
part. And
decision
it's just
tree.
okay, right, we're going down to the nurse.
Aye.
Oh no, we're going to the doctor. It's the same.
Mate,
it's the same thing.
I had a conversation with a guy and it's became what he said was untrue, where he was like sitting in a Zoom call and he was like, you know, like when I was training to become a therapist, like, you know, this is one of the industries that's kind of like technology. No, like the opposite, like basically like Teflon.
Oh yeah.
To like technology because the human
You'll always
connection.
need it.
Nonsense, mate.
No.
They have now got this app that is
Aye,
now
the chat.
rated at like something like 90% better than a face-to-face human therapist, and it is an AI
I'm
therapist.
sure Dan for Brothers in Arms was coming in talking to us about that years ago.
Yeah, chatbot and
Aye.
blah blah blah. But it is now they've paid again. It's like this sort of like they've paid for the license to get access to the material of the world's greatest therapists and now feeding it into an
Yeah.
AI. And it's like you're getting to go and speak to these people that are charging. I mean, I'd heard, I don't know how true this is, but I'd heard that Marissa Peers was Ricky Gervais and Will Smith's psychotherapist. She was charging $4,000 an hour.
Uh-huh.
So she's now out of a job
Aye.
because she has put all her shit on the internet
Yeah.
and went, you can train under me and then you pay and I'll give you all the resources. But now they're paying for that $100 license, taking all that resource, feeding into an AI.
then-
Now the AI's talking in her accent and blah, blah, blah.
But
So
then these-
you fucked it, like, you know what I mean?
But this AI is not just her. It's also read everything by Jung, everything
Yeah.
by Freud, everything
Aye.
by. So it's like it should be better in some respects in that regard.
It's still early doors, isn't it?
And it's the same with like even my job, man. Like I mean, I do a
Sales?
I do a sales job,
Go on, mate,
and I've
aye.
already heard like an automated script, and it sounds just like a person, but he's asking the right questions, great timing, great all those things, and you're like, okay, like I mean,
I think we're still at the point where
there's
it's
still gaps, but
aye, because let us say, let the Secret Invasion intro, the other one that gets me, and you can still tell nowadays, is like the YouTube adverts where it's pure. This drone was created to, and
Yep.
and like
Pure generic
in a
accent.
couple of years'
and-
time, as you say, it's going to
Yeah.
get to a point with more and more iterations, more and more information that we're going to see adverts, we're going to see movies, we're going to hear music that we're like, is that
there's
real?
already some great.
You know what I mean? Like-
I've heard Johnny Cash doing a cover of Barbie Girl or
I-
something like
no,
that,
they've done-
and it sounded great.
Liam Gallagher's High Flying Birds, where they fed Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds songs into AI and put it, and it came out going, this is what Liam would sound like singing
Aye.
this track. And
Fucking hell.
so it's getting that point where you're like, that's class. And then you're like, no, but wait a minute, is it? And
Aye.
and blah, blah, blah. But see, like,
It is for the consumer.
it's
class for the consumer.
that is where we're. I think that, see, like you said, that's where we're heading. We're heading to a point where all that will be left will be consumerism, and just to consume. And
Yep.
even the arts, you know, are now gone. AI art, you know, like, and it's just
There's a whole computer game, High on Life, which is like the same creators as Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And so they've got the voice actors and all that are involved, but large parts of that game were just AI generated. And I've played it, and it, like, obviously you can't tell because it's a game, but it looked great.
Yeah.
Like, looks absolutely great. But like they're essentially cutting down all those graphic designers because they don't need to be like all the background art in games and stuff like that.
Procedural,
Done at an
the
instant.
procedural generation
Yeah.
and gaming, like Starfield
Yeah.
and stuff like that, are going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't create a interactable
Universal.
universe in all its detail,
No.
like
Manually.
ahead of time. You need to, it needs to be a bigger, because game worlds are getting bigger and bigger to the point where we're now literally like real time traveling across
Well, we've had
universes.
Thingy
You know what I
for a
mean?
while.
Like,
We've had what's it called for a while.
I watched a YouTube channel or a YouTube video with a guy that plays guitar for Justin Bieber, and he's like, I can't sustain. And you're like, come on, to fuck. He can't sustain his lifestyle just playing guitar for Justin Bieber.
Oh,
You're like,
fuck,
well,
man.
so he writes music for video games, and he's like, and I no longer have that because now they're using AI to write all the music for video games because it doesn't need that. People are like, it lacks that human emotion. But the TV music, game music, elevator music, it has no emotion. So it doesn't need that, and it'll just in its background.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need that sort of human element and that human touch that people are saying will be missing. But actually, like you're saying, we're a ball hair away from it having that
Aye.
and being like we can't distinguish the difference between what we do and see when that happens. Like this is where who knows where it'll go, but this is where the political choices will need to change, I think.
aye, like these writer strikes and stuff like that are now vital because they're the kind of like front line almost at the minute, like keeping, you know, art almost human. You know what I mean? Like, and you know,
I think they're fighting the wrong battle because it's like we were just saying there is no stopping this. So
Aye, but I
that
think
political
becomes about how you harness it.
but that political momentum and that political will and the will of people needs to come towards what do we do with these people that now don't have a job because AI is going to take it, rather than them fighting to stop the juggernaut in its tracks. Because if we just look at recent history, it won't. There's nothing stopping. There's nothing stopping automation. They went out and they striked against the factories becoming automated. They strike. I just don't see it.
And it'll be
I just-
exactly the same result.
The political will needs to change. It will be the exact same
It'll be
result.
the exact same result, and that is rebranding. Rebranding. This is organic content. This is organic.
aye.
Now we're seeing, but you know,
But it
now
costs you 50
we're seeing
quid
people
extra.
being reduced down to this whole like, you know, Instagram's just awash with it. You know, like being reduced down to like, here's what I do, and I can teach you how to do it. And it's
Aye.
like you're in a pyramid, and you're getting the last of the profit that is left of that, and this sort of like
Yeah.
coaching sort of lifestyle shit that's starting to is really at its. I think it's at its sort of peak.
I think so as well. I
But-
think people are becoming more and more conscious of like, and I think it's their own awareness of the fact that so much of this is like already out there. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it definitely is at its peak, that sort of self-help guru type thing. You know what I mean? I think what you're going to be left with is like the people who are extremely good at it, and everybody else just kind of sort of falling by the wayside, and maybe other people actually just using these new tools
There's
to
also-
like direct their life.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
There's also a whole load of people that like learning styles and things like that, like doing it off of a computer and doing it that way just doesn't work for them. Like they can't engage with that. Like in a therapist setting, like some people will be better off sat across
Yeah.
from someone because they're not going to listen because they've
Yeah.
listened. They've also these are the same people that have listened to 1,000 motivational speeches online. It's not like they fucking turned their life around or anything.
Yeah.
So like sometimes there's always going to be a need for that human, but I think that the problem is that it could dilute it so much because there are going to be always going to be cheaper alternatives that are readily available. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting,
Well,
but
it's
there'll be
interesting
new jobs
chat.
created out of it all. Like basically, there's going to be server maintenance people.
Aye, but that's kind of like you're saying. That's a dilution of the thing with all, because we've went for, you know, like when I first started in Virgin Megastore back in the day, there was 100 staff. God knows how many people used to work in that Asda down at the Forge, and now that you're saying there's like 10 of them. So where has that other 190 people went? Like they are now
Aye.
scratching their arse for work or driving Uber, and then that'll go. And
Yeah,
then it's like
universal credit.
it'll be universal basic income, and it'll be, you know, well, we hope they don't just let every cunt just go into a scrap heap, you know, like this is what I'm saying, like that sort of swathe and will for people needs to be less about, you know, I think, you know, fighting to keep the status quo, no, but we need to keep these jobs and more towards like what is an actual like a tangible solution to a problem, rather than trying to like
Yeah.
put a fucking cage around technology
Yeah,
when
aye.
there's just absolutely no cage in it.
It shouldn't be either or. We need to find a place where these things exist in harmony, and as I say, the AI and the various bits and bobs, the technology that come alongside it, are tools that we harness to improve the quality of our lives.